If you're driving, please remember to use your car's Bluetooth speaker while listening to the AM Drive. Sports talk is not worth your safety or the safety of others.
Grab your popcorn and sit back.
Jump the gun. Oh, no, give me more than that. Okay, go this way. That was dumb. We are.
How could I tell you when nobody wants to? Your favorite words I would show.
Happy Hurricane Idalia Wednesday to everyone in the sports universe. Well, at least my sports universe. This is the AM Drive, and live from Savannah-ish, Georgia, I am Michael Carvelis, alongside Las Vegas' own native Aaron Crouch. Aaron, how was your last? What's wrong with you?
I'm not a native. That doesn't make any sense at all.
I thought you lived in Las Vegas.
I do live in Las Vegas. I don't think you understand what the word native means.
Oh, well, excuse me, sir. Yeah, he lives in Las Vegas. That was the point. MikeandAaronDrive.com, because we have great intros per usual, as always. Best way to support our show with these awesome hoodies. It's raining for us, which is good. Phone cases, mugs. Is your tumbler? Whoa, good Lord, mugs. Is your tumbler around? You got coffee or water in that puppy?
Going with the agua today.
Woo! All right, good. How's your last 2 days been?
Good.
Weekend.
Back to work. But watching a little bit of college football was nice. Caleb Williams looked fine. His defense looks like pure dog crap. And it's gonna be a long season for them. And we'll see. Sam Hartman, we're going to talk about this stuff, but, Sam Hartman with the transfer is looking, really good right now. So we'll see how Notre Dame can sustain that throughout the season.
It's going to be a long one for sure, but I think it's going to be a fun one.
I think so, too. Yeah, two good squads. Notre Dame and USC are always good. But we've got the real college football underway this weekend.
Woo! All right, but first we have to get into this. And Aaron, I've teased it all morning. Well, in the last 30 minutes, whatever. The Colts did not trade Jonathan Taylor. Everyone knew this was coming. The Tuesday deadline, the Colts weren't going to find a good enough deal. Taylor's going to start on the puppy dog list, which I believe means he's going to miss the first 4 games, unless they can find a way to trade him now, which I doubt it.
They can't trade him.
Right. So this is when I first thought when I knew this was gonna happen last week, I was like, okay, I'm still on the side of the Colts. I have changed my tune slightly towards Jonathan Taylor's side in this regard. As a Colts fan, what are we doing now? He doesn't want to be there, obviously, because by the way they're painting it on his camp is that they hate Indianapolis now and they're not going to get a deal. There was negotiation, blah, 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 blah. He's been screwed over. I understand that guys like we're going to talk about Josh Jacobs and even Saquon Barkley got paid not as much as Jonathan Taylor even wants close to. But what is the Colts' end goal here? Do they think they can convince him somehow? Because I don't. So I think we've kind of shot ourselves in the foot. And I don't think Jonathan Taylor was going to play for us this year. I don't know what the point of this was, but I still am on the side of the Colts in general. But it did kind of make me wonder, what is the end game here?
So I can understand your flip-floppiness, so to speak. I understand it seems like neither party's really got their heads squared straight on their shoulders here, but right. We kind of knew the same situation happened with Austin Eckler. The compensation would be just too much for a team to want to, invest in Jonathan Taylor. Not only that, investing in a long-term deal. I don't know if Jonathan Taylor has learned something, that the market's just not valuing you as a first-round pick, and they're not valuing you as a person who they want to put $16-17 million a year into. And I don't know if he's learned that. Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. But at this point in time, I'm not in the camp of anybody, but I still agree with what the Colts are doing right now. In a sense, they have a situation where if he doesn't play, that extends the life of this contract.
Fair point.
So they don't have a situation where they have to rush. They don't have high expectations for this year. Zach Moss, I believe, is still hurt. If not, he'll be back soon.
He's questionable. Yeah, he's hurt.
He could theoretically take over for a year. I don't see where the ball's not in Indianapolis's court here. They don't have. I mean, if they've obviously pupped them for 4 weeks. What I know the rules to be is after the 4 weeks, you have 21 days to trade, release, or activate this player. Will he play? I think when he starts losing real paychecks of this $4 million salary, I think after 4 weeks, he will play.
The old Jonathan Taylor, I'd like to think so. This new version of him that we suddenly hear from is very weird to me because I think even he liked the post on Twitter that like he ended up like unliking it that was like in favor of like how the Colts have screwed him over somehow. And don't get me wrong, I am on the side of what the Colts are doing, like looking as a business side of it. I'm just wondering if we really are telling ourselves like if we're basically telling ourselves, oh, we can wait a year or we hope he comes back. I don't like just punting the season when you don't know if Anthony Richardson can just start playing well. Like if Jonathan Taylor is a missing piece, I don't like. That's my only thing. Like, what is our end game here? I understand the business side, but why?
If Anthony Richardson's actually playing well, and they're a running back piece away, I could see a spot where like Leonard Fournette and or Kareem Hunt are in camp for $4 million. Wow.
I'd take Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't take Kareem Hunt right now for chump change at this point? But, at the same time, like, this may be a get off my lawn comment, but I don't want the NFL turning into the NBA.
Oh.
The minute somebody's unhappy, they're sitting there screaming for trades, and we just have no. And don't get me wrong, I understand the loyalty aspect and how the NFL doesn't have it either. But at some point, we have to have team loyalty, player loyalty to a team. Now, I think that goes both ways. I do believe that Jonathan Taylor should be paid more. Do I believe he should be paid the most? No, absolutely not. And, the next guy we're talking about, I think finally realized the writing on the wall, and maybe he'll try to figure it out next year. I think Jonathan Taylor really should kind of figure out the page here, and I know I've been saying bridge deal for 6 to 8 weeks now. How these guys aren't getting bridge deals. Maybe it's the front office that doesn't want to do them, but in this day and age with the drop off of running backs between 24 and 27, I don't know, maybe the NFL holds their hand and does something, but maybe, they have to say, okay, well, running backs, you have to guarantee X percentage of their contract between ages 24 and 28. I don't know. Maybe they have to do that between all positions. I don't know what has to happen, but I'm not against players getting paid, but I'm just, I think players need to realize that, when you go out there and try to find your worth and you get a dose of reality, it doesn't mean you can just brush that off and say, no, that's not the truth. Like, life hurts sometimes, like, I'm sorry. There are probably teams willing to pay you $10 million a year. They'd line up in a heartbeat, but for 16, 17 million, you just, in my opinion, after the one season, you don't do what McCaffrey does. You don't do what Saquon Barkley does. Like, and Saquon Barkley's not making, 16, 17 million dollars. So, I'll make a bold proclamation that between now and Jonathan Taylor's first game back in uniform, he fires his agent.
That would be so nice. I love you for saying that. I hope that Aaron said it first on that one. I really do. Because I think it would be beneficial for both parties.
I think so too.
All right.
Now, does that mean he is an Indianapolis Colt? Maybe not, but I think he will be, and I think he'll fire his agent.
Fair. For those wondering, it's getting kind of gross over here for a little bit, so it should like come in spurts. So if I start like going fuzzy on the screen, just screw it. We'll be fine. And if not, we'll have another show Friday. Okay, so Raiders re-signed Josh Jacobs for $12 million. Hey, big shocker! Running backs don't get paid as much as they'd like to, which is really, again, why I'm wondering why we're wasting people's time with this crap. But Aaron, according to your sources in Vegas and just you in general, is this it's a good deal, but what is your take on this? I mean, they're, like you said before, they're going to win 6 games with or without. So what's your take now?
So my take is a little different. Maybe it's just the pure optimism of the city. Maybe it's I like Jimmy Garoppolo better than the next guy.
Right.
But if Jimmy Garoppolo can stay healthy, I think you can bump that 6 wins up to 8.
Woo!
I think they're an 8-9. I still think they're a 500 team at this point. But, yeah, I mean, this is obviously a great get for the Raiders, for them to bring back the horse. I mean, you look at the roster. I mean, with Jacoby Myers, Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, if Jimmy Garoppolo can stay healthy.
Hunter Renfrow, the hardest worker on the team.
Oh, yeah, Hunter Renfrow. I totally forgot about him. I mean, they have a rookie tight end. They got a chance. I mean,
Mayer ain't bad, they say.
Unfortunately, they're just in a tough division, obviously. But books out here have them 25-1 to win the Super Bowl. That's surprisingly low for a team that's supposed to win 6 games.
With Josh McDaniels.
Yeah. As a head coach, the book is obviously still out on that. Good morning.
Well, you were having a great first segment. I love you for this. Go ahead, keep going.
But, yeah, I mean, I think this is right in the same realm of Jonathan Taylor. And I think Josh Jacobs, to me, has done more than Jonathan Taylor has done.
Consistently,
we're basing Jonathan Taylor on one good season.
Yep.
And yes, it's a great season. He led the league in rushing. He was absolutely incredible that year. But guess what? The year he led the league in rushing, the Colts missed the playoffs.
Woo! All right. Thank you.
I think Todd Gurley, Le'Veon Bell, the list goes on and on, has proven that this is the area for running backs. I mean, Derrick Henry, one of the best running backs in the league, is only making $12 or $13 million. So let's not act like, this is a situation where, they're being blackballed. So Austin Eckler got a little bit more money. Josh Jacobs got a little bit more money. Jonathan Taylor really needs to kind of open his eyes and figure out what's the best way for me to get a little bit more. Like, do you think, honestly, I know we're bouncing topics here.
Mm-hmm.
If he came back and said, can you give me like 30 over 3 with like 20 million guaranteed, do you think the Colts would put pen to paper immediately?
No.
Because bridges are burned, or what?
3 years.
Why would you not give a 24-year-old 3 years?
The injury wants me to only give him 2.
Okay,
I mean, he's got some usage over his college and pro career.
Well, if 20 million is guaranteed, if you give him 3 over 30, that's an average of 10 a year. 20 million guaranteed, you theoretically could cut him after the second year.
I would do 15 million guaranteed. I don't know. I don't know how that works, but I right now I want 2 years.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Go 3 for 30, 20 guaranteed. That's 2 years at 10 million a year.
That's a good point,
and you can you have an out after 2 years, basically.
I like that, because then if he plays for 3 years, you only guaranteed him 20 anyways.
And if he plays 3 years, he's 27 at that point. Who knows? He may be a unicorn and be good till 30. I don't know. I mean, you got Latavius Murray out there, 31 years old, still running the ball. Raheem Mostert, 21 or 29 or 30 years old. He's the starting running back for the Dolphins. So.
I do think the Kareem Hunt situation is interesting, because Kareem, it's all about low mileage. That dude's been like holding Nick Chubb's water bottles and Gatorade bottles for the last couple years. I mean, Kareem Hunt's got to be fresh.
In terms of carries, he doesn't have a ton. He's more of a receiving back.
Even like the Chiefs, they use Mahomes more.
But the point is they like Deion Jackson in Indianapolis as well. Much. So, I mean, you can bring in a Kareem Hunt and a Deion Jackson for the same price as Jonathan Taylor. And hell, like I said, even bring in like a Leonard Fournette, just bring in a stable of backs for the same price.
Have a good one. Yep.
Yeah.
Adios.
But Josh Jacobs, it's good for the Raiders. It's good for Josh. Hopefully, hopefully they can find some kind of long-term deal, that works out for both sides. But like I said, this is right in the ballpark, $12 million. I think this is a good value for both the Raiders and Josh Jacobs.
And one more thing, he should be grateful because this regime did not draft him in the first place. I'm not saying he's not good or that they don't value him or that they didn't come there knowing that he was there. I just think the fact he got $12 million for a year, he should feel like, okay, good. I have some leverage here.
Yeah, I can see with McDaniel's coming over the Patriot way, saying like, we don't need Josh Jacobs.
Right. But 1 year, Yao Show will take him.
Right.
He's earned it. Patriots not only have a QB1, they have one QB. Hey,
yeah.
Bold strategy, Cop. Let's see if it pays off for him. Never seen the movie, seen the clip. So also Broncos have 4 wide receivers. One of them is Jerry Jeudy, who's injured again. Cam Newton's coming back, or like, what are we doing here?
So
Colt McCoy?
Everything I've read is Colt McCoy, which is a pretty interesting concept to me, to basically throw away 2 young arms, which Bailey Zappi was starting last year. I mean, he freaking started games last year.
And looked about the same as Mac Jones.
What? Say that again?
He looked about the same as Mac Jones.
Right. Now, what you're telling me is that Mac Jones has taken a giant leap forward. Hopefully he's got an actual offensive coordinator that's actually done offense before. But yeah, I mean, you're telling me that basically, I mean, I don't hate the Colt McCoy theory here. I mean, he's definitely a capable backup. He could come in and probably run a Mac Jones style offense if necessary, which, what does that tell you about Bailey Zappi? Malik Cunningham, I didn't really have any expectations for him anyways.
They were using him as a unicorn.
But this is exactly what I was talking about with the Patriot way. It's like, what are we, 2 weeks before the season? All your preseason reps are over, and you've just slashed your 2 backup quarterbacks. It's just, I just never understood. Cam Newton ain't coming back. That would be a shocker. I really would be surprised at that. I feel like Bill Belichick wouldn't do that just for the media circus alone.
He's still cussing out kids on TikTok.
Who, Cam or Bill Belichick?
Yeah, there was another video that surfaced a few months ago where a kid he was telling a kid basically, I don't even know how to say this in a clean way. Suck me in a way.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I don't know how else to say that. It wasn't good though. It was a few months ago. I don't see how we're. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, I think it's the Colt McCoy situation. I think Brian Hoyer's a backup in Oakland, or not Oakland, here in Las Vegas. But yeah, it's. I mean, I guess they're all in on Mac Jones. Take all the pressure off. Say, hey, look, this is your year. Make it or break it. There is nobody over your shoulder. We're considering to come in. What can you do? And maybe he'll be better with, like I said, an offensive mind and the fact that there's nobody over his shoulder. That Bailey Zapp, in and out, had to probably mess with his head. So
I think he's full of crap for even assuming that. I think that's a thing, but I feel like if you're good, just play, dude.
Sure, but your coach is one of the more wacky coaches when it comes to personnel. I mean, think about the guy who, I think it was Jonas Gray, scores 4 touchdowns one week, and then the next week he's on the freaking practice squad. So, I mean, things don't make sense in Patriot land sometime. So, my guess is that this is a put up or shut up year for Mac Jones. There's no pressure. There's no noise behind him. Like, Colt McCoy's not coming in and taking this job. They obviously have to sign somebody. You can't just go into the NFL with one quarterback. You just can't. So unless Julian Edelman's going to unretire or Tom Brady's going to unretire, I think it's probably Colt McCoy at this point, because it seems like the dominoes fell. It was like they released Colt McCoy in Arizona, and Belichick quickly wiped out his quarterback room. It just seems like it makes too much sense for him not to go over there, but we'll see.
I was saying, we better see. We got 20 minutes already in the show. All right. When we come back, we're talking college football, including Michigan trying to get ahead of the curve. What curve? We'll talk about it next.
right, welcome back here to the AM Drive on the new Wednesday editions. We are back 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7:15 Pacific time, 10:15 Eastern time in the AM here. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you're going to catch the replay, we appreciate you guys. But we appreciate you more if you check out Shank It Golf. It looks just like this on Mike and Aaron Drive on the link tree. Or you can go straight to Shank It Golf and use promo code AM Drive when you check out for a full 15. That is a 1 and a 5. 15% off of your entire order. Once again, tell the folks at Shank It Golf or the guys at AM Drive sent you. And when you buy, we are #Shankful.
Shankful for real. All right, so Michigan, you're right, because of a COVID-19 dead period where they were recruiting cats, like who wasn't? Michigan, because they're in some investigation with the NCAA, which I don't know what's the thing anymore at this point. I'm kidding.
The NCAA, yeah, I know exactly.
Right. Jim Harbaugh, they're suspending him for 4 games, and then they're suspending their offensive coordinator for 1 game. Those games are against BS, Campbell's Chunky Soup, and Doritos, so it's not like it matters. Like one of the schools is Lily Bowling Green. I think they'll be fine. And they're all in the Big House, I think, which is also very nice timing. So I have a 2-part question that I raised to people. 1, how dumb do they think this NCAA still is? If they think those are the games, like, I mean, yeah, it matters, but they really don't. They don't matter. The NCAA is like, well, I spent it for 4 games and those games were tough. No, they're not saying that. It doesn't matter if the games are tough. Maybe not, but it's still weird. Like those are the 4 games. And number 2, why are we beating this horse and acting like, oh, how dare you violate our, like, who cares, dude? You tested some recruits during the COVID-19 pandemic. And like, oh man, I love old white people sometimes. Go ahead, Aaron. That's what it sounds like.
Well, let's start with the first situation here. Is he's only suspended 3 games, yeah, it's 3 games that they're going. So the situation is he could receive from the NCAA a suspension up to 6 games, and the appeal means it pushes it probably till the next season. And I saw a situation here that Michigan self-imposed the 3-game suspension, so that if they can offer him up to 6 games next year, it's a time served 3 plus 3 next year. And you're right, it's always the cupcakes. They play UNLV this year, Eastern Carolina, and like I said, I think you nailed it. Like the Pope's Church for deaf and blind women is the other game. So it's a smart tactic by Michigan to do what they have to do. And you're right. With the NCAA here, I don't know if it's just them holding on to any modicum of authority that they have left over anymore. Mm-hmm. I do wonder about them. It's weird. In a way, you almost kind of feel bad for them. How they literally, it's the same with the Pac-12, how you thought you were going to be great forever in the current iteration, and you really never found a way to continue to improve. And now you're almost non-existent. So I don't know what to make of this. I mean, like you said, it's kind of a #nothing burger if it becomes Harbaugh suspended for 3 games each of the next 2 years, because it doesn't affect Ohio State, it doesn't affect conference play, and so theoretically, I mean, what I'm looking at here, I'm looking at the line movement for Michigan against Eastern Carolina. From a self-imposed ban, they've actually they were a 34.5 point favorite. Now they're a 36. So clearly it hasn't affected that. No offense to the Pirates, but yeah, I wish you the best of luck in the Big House.
Their entire fan base of 17 people might come and attack us on social media.
Do you even know where East Carolina is?
It's not even a state. No, no one cares.
Well, there's 2 states, but do you know which one it's in?
I'm going to guess north.
Yeah, you'd be right.
Ooh, I don't know why I just said that. I'm happy I got that right, though. Hey, Catholics, number 13, Notre Dame, put up 42 big ones on Navy. Now, granted, Navy once again ran the ball 75 times for like 100 yards. Okay, I'm lying. It was like 40 times for 120 yards. Congrats. They have no offense, and Sam Hartman, for what it's worth, is gaining some more ground and probably helped himself out by not playing at Wake Forest his entire 4 or 5 year college career and actually playing at Notre Dame, who, to be fair, has some title aspirations over Wake Forest. If that
Sure.
Notre Dame putting a 42 on Navy doesn't move me. I think this helps Sam Hartman more than it helps Notre Dame.
Well, of course. I mean, like you said, he spent 4 or 5 years at Wake Forest.
With Demon Dick.
He is the all-time leading touchdown thrower in ACC history. I bet you wouldn't have guessed that in a trivia question.
Whoop.
Yeah, I mean, it's early season Notre Dame. Let's put a kibosh on the hype. Let's let Sam Hartman play some team. I think this week they play like another nobody, but I think they have Ohio State in 2 weeks. So let's see what happens there. Let's figure out what we have out of the Notre Dame Irish. But anytime you can start the season 42-3, I mean, doesn't matter who you're playing. That's a good start.
And Navy's defense, last time I checked, wasn't like they do a lot of damage. They do a lot of clock control. So it's putting up 42 is nice.
The rushing will help, obviously. Yes, they ran for a total of 126 yards and passed for 43. So
it's every time, every year. No coach is ever going to change that. I have no idea why that happens.
Well,
one quarterback, one guy in the Navy cannot throw a football. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, it's been Ken Niumatalolo for so long now. I remember
That's a great name, and I love how you pronounce that.
They had Keenan Reynolds, who played in the NFL for a little bit. He was a quarterback, but as long as Coach K is there, they are not running anything but the triple option. I mean, the Army does it too, and Air Force. I mean, it's like a service academy thing.
It's like the old pre-Pop Warner days.
Yeah, when you have the wingback. I mean, when's the last time you saw a wingback in an NFL game?
I don't even know what that is. Caleb Williams and the USC Trojans start strong. They dominated. Well, let me lie. Caleb Williams dominated San Jose State. USC allowed 28 points. That's if that's not a Lincoln Riley football game, I don't know what is. I know Caleb can make some freak throws. I'm still not sold on him. Because I've seen Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield both come out of this offense and supposed to be good. Now Kyler might be more self-inflicted because of his habits, but I think that good for Caleb Williams, but USC, man, they are good Lord, they need help.
I mean, it's the defense. It's Pac-12 defense is optional at this point, and yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can't really buy into Caleb Williams. The only thing you could really lay your hat on is Utah. I mean, Utah has his number. They had him twice last year.
And UCLA was in the game against him, and I feel like
I don't think that's fair to say that any team's in the game against Caleb Williams when his defense is absolutely atrocious.
Oh yeah, well, I know.
So I mean, I don't know. We'll see. He's obviously the overwhelming favorite to win the Heisman. Which is always tricky because, I mean, nobody goes back-to-back. It's a long season. Someone will show up.
Sam Hartman, Drake May.
People get the Heisman fatigue. They're like, do I really want to give this guy the same accolades as I gave Archie Griffin? Oh. I still maintain to this day, and I am not obviously a fan of him in his college years. I still maintain to this day Tim Tebow should also be a 2-time Heisman winner, but it's never going to happen, obviously. But do I believe Caleb Williams should be? I don't know. We'll see this year. If he has a better year than last year, it's really hard to not give it to him. But, yeah, like you said, will Drake May show up? Will Sam Hartman show up? Could we have a dark horse? Could we have a Michael Penix out of Washington?
Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, Quinn Ewers. I mean, you're right. There's anybody. I think Michael Penix is a good dark horse here especially if Washington can beat Caleb Williams and the USC Trojans.
Isn't Michael Penix black?
Yeah, so
don't call him a dark horse, man.
Oh, jeez.
I'm kidding. We have the one live viewer. I had to talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, you had to do your virtue signaling.
That's right, man. Whatever the kids call it. When we come back, we're talking the biggest games in college football. There's a few good ones, and we'll be right back to the AM Drive.
All right, welcome back here to the AM Drive. We are presented by Agridime as well. You see the logo that looks just like this on MikeandAaronDrive.com. And speaking of Mike is frozen. I don't even know if we're recording right now, so we may have lost Mike. I can't tell if we lost Mike. We may have lost Mike.